June 2011. Macon, Georgia. Lauren Giddings is alone in her apartment, and something does not feel right. She cannot explain it precisely. Nothing is broken. Nothing is dramatically out of place. The door was locked when she came home, but the apartment carries a feeling she cannot shake. Like the air has been disturbed. Like things have been touched and returned, but not quite correctly. The specific unease of a space that has been in someone else's presence while she was gone. She mentions it to her sister. Her sister listens carefully and responds with gentleness. Lauren has been under enormous pressure for weeks. She is barely leaving the building, running on a study schedule that consumes everything from morning until late at night. It is easy for the mind to start building things in that kind of environment. It is probably nothing. Lauren accepts that, goes back to her books, but the feeling keeps coming back. On the night of June 25th, she sits down and writes an email to her boyfriend David. She tells him she believes someone tried to break into her apartment the night before. That she cannot understand how. The locks are fine. There are no signs of forced entry, nothing she can actually prove. But she is frightened. David responds warmly, probably just kids in the area with no real intent. She has been cooped up too long, working too hard. She should get some rest and not let it spiral. Lauren says goodnight. She closes her laptop. She goes to bed. She had also sent a message to her wider circle of friends around this time. A simple, practical note. Hey guys, I am hunkering down to study for the bar exam. Please do not be offended if I do not respond to texts or emails for a while. It was the most sensible thing in the world to say. In the days that followed, nobody heard from her. Her best friend Katie kept calling. Every call went straight to voicemail. Her sister Caitlin was on her honeymoon, sending photographs, the happy, automatic sharing of a newlywed, and receiving nothing back. Not a word. Not a single small acknowledgement. Caitlin had known her sister her entire life. She knew what it looked like when Lauren was busy studying, and she knew what this looked and felt like. These were not the same thing. Lauren's car had not moved from the parking lot in days. After Caitlin reached out asking someone to physically go and check, a fellow student named Ashley drove over with her boyfriend. She tried calling from the parking lot first. Voicemail. She used a spare key and let herself in. The apartment looked inhabited. Things slightly scattered across the surfaces. But Lauren had been preparing to move out, so the disorder did not immediately alarm them. Then Ashley started looking more carefully at what specifically was there. The purse, the phone, the laptop, the law books she had been living inside for weeks. Things a person does not leave behind when they choose to go somewhere. Things whose presence in that room meant Lauren had not made a choice to go anywhere at all. On the wall calendar, June 30th had a circle drawn around it. Tomorrow. Moving day. The day Lauren was scheduled to finally close this chapter and begin the next one. Ashley called people. Others came. Lauren's ex Joe helped search the campus and the surrounding streets. Nobody found anything. The last confirmed contact anyone had with Lauren was 4 days earlier at an end-of-year gathering. She had left the morning after, sent that email to David, and then simply stopped. The following morning, they called the police. Lauren's family began the almost 12-hour drive down from Maryland. Officers arrived at 9. They moved through the apartment carefully. No forced entry, no visible signs of struggle, nothing obviously stolen. Then they did what procedure requires in a situation like this. They used luminol. Room by room, it came back clean. Until the bathroom. When the chemical hit the surface of the bathtub, the reaction was immediate. That bath had held a significant quantity of blood. Someone had cleaned it afterward with considerable care. Bleach worked into every surface, every seam. But luminol does not respond to bleach. It finds what has been there regardless of what came after. The bath had been full of blood. They were no longer looking for a missing person. The search moved outside. June 30th was hot, the air moving in strong, irregular gusts. As officers gathered near the entrance to regroup, the wind changed direction, and everyone standing there stopped talking at the same moment. One officer described it afterward. He said, "We all encounter smells in life that stay with us. The smell of a decomposing body is among the worst things a person will ever encounter." There is no mistaking it. There were trash cans along the wall nearby. They lifted the lids one by one. Inside one of them, wrapped inside a black bag, was a female torso. Testing would confirm what they already felt certain of. It was Lauren Giddings. One detail from that morning that no investigator on the case has ever forgotten. The police vehicles parked near the entrance had accidentally blocked the garbage collection van from completing its route. The driver had turned back. The pickup never happened. 20 minutes later, a different parking decision. And that bin is emptied before the search begins. The only piece of Lauren ever recovered disappears into a landfill. The case opens cold, and in all likelihood stays cold. Instead, the van could not get through, and Lauren was found. Even before the cameras arrived, one person had been drawing the wrong kind of attention all morning. In 3 years of living at Barristers Hall, Stephen McDaniel had never once made himself part of the life that happened around him. He kept to himself. Curtains always drawn, windows always shut, minimal contact with anyone in the building. That morning he had appeared the moment the search began. He walked alongside the group. He kept himself close to investigators as they moved through the building, watching everything, absorbing every detail. He stayed for the entire day. He also refused to allow officers to search his apartment, said it was the lawyer in him, that he was always protective of his private space. He offered this without apparent concern for how it looked. But he would not go inside and stay there either. When the news cameras arrived, he was one of the first to step forward. He stood on camera and spoke about Lauren, said she was kind and personable, that no one had seen her since Saturday, that the whole building was worried. He was measured and composed. He gave the performance of a concerned neighbor without a single visible crack in it.
That was living there?
Yeah, Lauren was my neighbor. We're just trying to find out where she is at this point. I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday. I mean, the last time anyone heard from her was an email that she sent out, and no one's heard from her since.
And did you see her hang out with anyone at the time, anything like that?
I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday. I haven't seen anything. I mean, you always hear noise outside, but it's just people walking by pretty much. I mean, she's as nice as can be. I mean, very personable, very much a people person.
Do you know anybody any enemies she might have had, somebody that might want to hurt her?
No, we don't know where she is. I mean, the only thing we can think is that maybe she went out running and someone snatched her. Because we went over. One of her friends had a key. We went inside and tried to see if there was anything amiss. But she had a door jamb that was sitting right by it, so there was no sign that anyone broke in. The door was locked when everyone got here.
Then the reporter mentioned that a body had been found on the property. Something happened to his face that no amount of composure could cover. Not grief, not shock. A brief internal shift. Something moving behind his eyes that belonged to a person calculating, not grieving. Then quietly, "I think I need to sit down." He lowered himself slowly and sat staring at the ground.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of, I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you heard anything? Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? We don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? Like, they took out a body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. So that's why we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
After the cameras moved on, he remained there motionless for a long time, saying nothing, looking at nothing. Only a handful of people at that point knew what had been found in the bin. Investigators had been watching him all morning. After that moment on camera, there was very little ambiguity left about where their focus needed to go. A few hours later, McDaniel finally allowed officers into his apartment. What they found inside built the case without his help. A master key that opened every apartment in Barristers Hall, hacksaw packaging, flash drives, which, when examined, contained material involving children, enough to support 30 separate criminal counts. In a bedroom drawer, a pair of underwear that testing confirmed belonged to Lauren Giddings. His browser history told its own story. Thousands of searches for Lauren's name. Her social media profiles visited repeatedly, cross-referenced with violent content. He had written on anonymous online forums about torturing and killing women. His most recent search before police arrived that morning had been for the local trash collection schedule. In the maintenance room, accessible only to the building's maintenance worker, who was cleared quickly, and to McDaniel, investigators found the hacksaw itself. Surveillance footage confirmed he had purchased it. There was blood on the blade, a bloody sheet in the same room. Both came back to Lauren, then on a memory card recovered from his apartment, something that stopped everyone in the room. A video. A camera fixed to the end of a wooden pole using duct tape extended through a gap in Lauren's window blinds. Dated the night of June 24th. Lauren inside her own apartment, moving through her own private space, entirely unaware she was being filmed through her own window. McDaniel was initially arrested on burglary charges, the result of his own casual admission mid-conversation that he had been breaking into neighboring apartments. He mentioned it the way someone mentions an errand.
Macon police say a K-9 unit from Dooley County has volunteered to help in the search for the remains of murdered Mercer grad Lauren Giddings. Macon police are following several leads in the case, but so far have no official suspects. Giddings' neighbor, 25-year-old Stephen McDaniel, remains in jail tonight on unrelated burglary charges. Police continue to gather statements from students and neighbors in what they're calling a detailed, painstaking process.
He was brought in for formal questioning. He sat across from Detective Patterson for 12 hours. He barely moved, barely turned his head, answered almost everything with, "I don't know," or with complete silence.
More questions.
Okay.
You came down earlier tonight, me and you talked, all right. You don't have any weapons on you, do you?
No.
That's just you are. What's wrong? You know I'm Detective Patterson, right?
Yes.
Do you remember? Put your hands up here. You remember us talking? I need to know about this girl right here. You know her?
Yes.
Who is that?
Lauren Giddings.
Does she live next door to you?
Yes.
Okay. Look at me when you talk to me, son. Okay? Was you friends with her?
Yes.
I'm asking you for help. I need your help. Can you help me?
I don't know.
You don't know if you can help me?
Yes.
I need your help. Help me out. Tell me what to do. What do you think happened to her?
I don't know.
Do you even care that no one can find her? I mean, I don't know, do you?
Yes.
Well, you know there was a body found in the trash can next to the apartments.
Yes.
And it's a female, white female's body, right next to y'all's apartment. We don't know 100% sure it's Lauren, but we're pretty confident it is. I mean, who would do something to somebody and throw them in a trash can?
I don't know.
And you know why we've been working all day trying to find Lauren, right?
Yes.
Because her family wants to know where she's at.
Yes.
And I don't know what to tell her family. So I'm asking you, what do I need to tell her family?
I don't know.
It's all on you, brother. What do you want me to tell her family? Huh?
I don't know.
Well, I need to know.
When detectives stepped out to let the room work on him, they watched him from outside on camera. He sat in the exact same position for the entire time they were gone. Back straight, hands still, eyes forward. Not a single adjustment. Detective Patterson said afterward that in all his years of conducting interrogations, he had never seen anyone sit like that. Not innocent people, not guilty ones, nobody. "You got up in front of those cameras," Patterson told him. "You spoke to the media. You looked right into the lens and talked about that girl. And now you are sitting here telling me you don't know." McDaniel said nothing that moved the case forward that night. He didn't need to. Everything else had already spoken.
You sure stood out there and ran your mouth to the news media, but now you're gonna get out here and you don't fucking know. You're just a sorry piece of shit that don't give a fuck.
Why would you not be honest with me?
I am being honest.
Stephen, it just doesn't feel like it, buddy. You know, I get the sense that there's something weighing heavy on your heart right now.
Stephen, did you hurt Lauren?
No.
What'd you do, buddy?
I didn't do anything.
What'd you do to Lauren?
I didn't do anything.
You're gonna look at this right here, this little girl right here, and you're gonna say you don't know? I know you know.
I don't know.
Yes, you know. What are you gonna say tomorrow when I say we got your hair with the body? I believe that you're a good guy, you've been picked on, girls didn't show you the respect that you deserved, you did something stupid, and I believe you feel bad about it, and that's why you're all freaked out right now. We want you to tell it so that way people understand you're not a monster. Things just, you got out of control.
While McDaniel sat in that interrogation room saying nothing, the people who had known and loved Lauren Giddings were trying to make sense of something that made no sense at all. Because to know Lauren was to struggle with the idea that this had happened to her specifically. She had grown up in Maryland, eldest of 3 daughters. Her parents, Karen and Bill, raised a household built on genuine closeness. The kind that shows up on a Tuesday, not just at Christmas. Lauren had always led that. She was the one who called first, who noticed when something was off with someone she loved and acted on it before she was asked. She had always been driven, and her ambition pointed in a specific direction, not toward money or prestige, but toward people. She wanted to be a public defender. She wanted to walk into courtrooms on behalf of the people who had nobody else walking in with them. She chose the harder path, because the harder path was the one that actually meant something. She had enrolled at Mercer University's School of Law in 2008, and she had built a life in Macon across those 3 years. She found her footing quickly, the way she always did. She made friends. She made the city hers. She had a boyfriend in Atlanta. David Van Dyke was a corporate lawyer, older than her, and by his account, she had disarmed him almost immediately. Same humor, same work ethic, same willingness to be honest with each other when things were hard. His older sister, famously difficult to impress, had warmed to Lauren on the first meeting. David had already chosen where he was going to propose, and there was Butterbean, Lauren's dog, who attended her graduation, because Lauren was exactly the kind of person who made that happen. By June 2011, she had done it. Law school behind her. Her whole family came to watch. David, her parents, her sisters. Shortly after, the family gathered again for Caitlin's wedding in Maryland. A few beautiful days with everyone together. There was an awareness in the room that this was the last time they would all be in one place for a while. It made the celebration feel fuller. Lauren flew back to Macon after the wedding. One thing remained, the bar exam. A few weeks of studying, and then everything she had worked toward would open up in front of her. She sent the message to her friends. "Don't be offended if I go quiet. I have work to do." Nobody questioned it. Classmates who knew both Lauren and McDaniel described them as opposites in almost every way. Lauren was someone who walked into a room and made people feel seen. McDaniel was someone who made people feel watched. She was warm and direct, and genuinely interested in the people around her. He was arrogant, isolated, fixated on dark hypotheticals, asking classmates how they would hypothetically commit the perfect crime, how someone might disappear without a trace. He had no close friends after 3 years in a community where almost everyone else had found their people. His curtains were always drawn, his windows always shut. Lauren had tried with him the way she tried with everyone. She introduced him to her mother when she spotted him walking alone around the complex. She stayed civil in the hallways long after most of their classmates had quietly given up. She was kind to him, not out of obligation, but out of character. He had asked her out more than once. She was not interested. Something about him made her uneasy in a way she could never quite resolve into words. She kept things polite and kept her distance. Lauren Giddings met him twice. After the second time, she could not stop thinking about him living next door to her daughter. She said there was just something about him, something she could identify but not name. Lauren had written about him to David back in 2008, said he gave her the stink eye, that he seemed out to get her. She could feel something, she just could not see it yet. April 2014, nearly 3 years after Lauren's death, 1 week before trial. The evidence had not stopped arriving across those 3 years. The digital record, the footage, the physical evidence, all of it compounding month after month with no flaw to it. McDaniel's former attorney would later say the case turned when the computer evidence started surfacing. And it kept surfacing, layer after layer.
The case building against Stephen McDaniel and the murder of his neighbor, Lauren Giddings, is getting stronger.
Today, a grand jury announced there's enough evidence to prepare for trial.
1 count of murder and 30 counts of sexual exploitation of children. Those are the heavy charges stacked against McDaniel, who's been in jail since July 1st on unrelated burglary charges. More than 20 grand jurors heard from the district attorney's office this morning before deciding there's enough evidence to let this case go to trial. This indictment says evidence shown today leads the grand jury to believe Stephen McDaniel did kill, murder, and cause the death of Lauren Giddings, a human being, by inflicting bodily harm in a manner unknown to the grand jury at this time, including decapitation of said victim. Since the grand jury has decided there is enough probable cause in this case, the next step is arraignment. That's when McDaniel will enter his plea, and according to his attorney, Floyd Buford, it'll be not guilty.
McDaniel changed his plea to guilty, life in prison, no death penalty, and one condition, non-negotiable, written into the agreement at Lauren's family's insistence. He had to account for it, in writing, in court, on the record. Because for nearly 3 years, 2 questions had sat unanswered over everything. What happened to Lauren that night? And where the rest of her was? What he wrote was read aloud in open court. He entered her apartment at 4:30 in the morning, dressed in black, gloves, a mask. He moved through the dark to her bedroom and stood watching her sleep. She woke. He believed she sensed something, that particular awareness of a presence before the eyes have opened. She came awake suddenly, and before she had fully processed what she was seeing, he was already on her. They went to the floor. She fought him for 15 minutes. During the struggle, her hands found his mask and pulled it from his face. She looked at him. She said his name. She screamed at him to stop. He did not stop. She cried and fought for almost 15 minutes before she stopped breathing. He moved her to the bathroom. He left her there. On the evening of June 27th, He returned with tools and did what he had planned to do. He distributed parts of her in bags around the campus. Her torso he placed in the bin beside the apartment block, expecting the morning collection to take it before anyone started looking. The medical examiner confirmed no sexual assault. McDaniel told the court he had not touched her that way. She was wearing pink running shorts, he said, and he had not removed them. They were found on her torso exactly as he described. He said that from the morning after he had been in a dreamlike state, that he walked past her door in the days that followed and told himself she was still alive on the other side of it. He said he was sorry, that he grieved for her every day, that he did not expect forgiveness and had no right to ask for it. Before sentencing, Lauren's mother, Karen, stood and faced him. She said, "He tried to extinguish Lauren's light with his darkness. He did not come close. The family had decided not to pursue the death penalty." Lauren had been openly opposed to capital punishment throughout her legal education. One of her former professors, who had briefly consulted on the defense before withdrawing, remembered this clearly. The family honored what Lauren believed. They said they hoped he lived every remaining year of his life in prison, and they meant it as exactly the punishment it sounds like.
3 years, 2 huge unanswered questions hung over the death of Lauren Giddings. What happened the night she died, and what happened to the rest of her body, since only her torso was found after the murder. Today, Stephen McDaniel spelled out the answers to those questions in chilling detail. As part of his plea deal with prosecutors, McDaniel agreed to write an allocution, a document detailing what he did and how.
Stephen McDaniel is a psychopath who cowardly allowed darkness and evil to consume him. He should never be permitted to prowl the streets of this world again.
That is the voice of Karen Giddings, the mother of Lauren Giddings, the Mercer Law grad who was killed almost 3 years ago.
Today, Stephen McDaniel entered a guilty plea to the murder of Lauren Giddings. His guilty plea provides finality to this case and assures justice that cannot be undone. Because of this guilty plea, Stephen McDaniel will never again be able to deny that he and he alone is responsible for Lauren Giddings' death.
Stephen McDaniel was sentenced to life, no parole until 2041. Legal experts do not expect him to ever leave. Only her torso was ever recovered. Her family buried what they had. The rest of Lauren's remains may still lie on that Pike County property. The 63 acres McDaniel surveyed while she was at her sister's wedding. Investigators have searched it. The land has not given anything back. From prison, McDaniel has filed appeal after appeal, claimed police misconduct, sought damages from his own defense attorney, filed motions against the presiding judge. His father launched a fundraising page that raised nothing and was removed.
Into the psyche of Stephen McDaniel. In a neatly handwritten 2-page document filled with small lettering, Stephen McDaniel outlines his experiences with Macon police. He complains that police yelled at him and intimidated him in an interrogation room for hours during the early stages of the investigation and wouldn't even let him go to the restroom without permission. McDaniel details being so upset he suffered a seizure and required medical help, but was only told that the EMT could look at him if he'd allow police to search his apartment. He says even after they got into his apartment, police never gave him medical care.
His mother has spoken publicly about the day she believes he will walk free. His grandfather, Hollis, before he died, said visiting him broke his heart. That you have to accept what is in front of you, whether you like it or not.
Now, things really didn't pick up until later in the afternoon as McDaniel began questioning his former attorney, Floyd Buford. And McDaniel decided to waive his attorney-client privilege, meaning that Buford had the ability to speak freely regarding his discussions with Stephen McDaniel.
Up until the last couple of weeks of your case, I was strongly in your corner. The graphic, specific, detailed confession, which we were shocked about in the jail, and then combine that with the searches on the internet, the fact that you had done searches about having sex with dead people, things of that nature. All of that combined to a heavy evidentiary problem in your case. On top of that, you possess the most horrific child pornographic photos I've ever seen.
Now, in McDaniel's habeas, he claims that Floyd Buford, Frank Hogue, and the rest of his defense team failed to represent him effectively. Here's what Buford had to say today about that.
Started off facing a death penalty. He ended up with life with the possibility of parole. You could get out one day, Stephen.
In Macon, there are 2 memorial plaques, one at Mercer Law School, one on a pink bench in Washington Park where Lauren used to run. Her family established a scholarship in her name. The law firm where she trained named their Wednesdays Pink Wednesdays, because Lauren had walked through a profession built on grey and navy and careful restraint, wearing bright colours, wearing pink, without a trace of apology. A close friend said she immersed herself in a world known for black pinstripes, and pink was her way of saying, "Bring it on." Detectives believe they stopped a serial killer before the second victim, that the level of preparation, the research, the written rehearsals, none of it pointed to a man who intended this to happen only once. They believe Lauren Giddings was not meant to be the last. She was 27 years old. Lauren felt something was wrong, long before anyone had reason to believe her. She had no proof, no forced entry, nothing concrete to point to. And she was right about every single thing she felt. When someone tells you their space feels violated in a way they cannot explain, the answer is not reassurance. That feeling is information. Take it seriously before proof arrives, not after. McDaniel was not a stranger. He was a face Lauren had looked at for 3 years, a name she already knew, a person her own mother had met. We are conditioned to fear what we do not recognize. This case challenges that directly. Familiarity is not safety. It never has been. Caitlin said there is no story here about what Lauren should or should not have done. You should be kind to people. You should be kind to your neighbors. In this case, he just happened to be who he was. Detectives believe they stopped a serial killer before the second victim. Lauren Giddings was not meant to be the last. Her family celebrates every milestone as though she is there. They run in her memory. They built a scholarship, so her name keeps moving through the world, doing what she always intended to do with it. Caitlin said it simply. It is not that Lauren does not exist in their lives anymore. She does. It is just very different now. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you won't miss our next case.